She was young, radiant, and full of life. But one September night, 28-year-old Renia Lewis vanished without a trace. Days later, her body would be found, hidden in an attic behind a secret wall, dismembered and deliberately concealed. This is a story of how an entire community searched for Renia, and how the truth, buried in the shadows of Vallejo home, was finally uncovered. Before we begin, if you're passionate about uncovering hidden truths and giving victims a voice, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the stories that matter most. Because what you're about to hear will stay with you. Friday, September 26, 2025. In the city of Vallejo, California, life moved at its usual pace. The air was heavy with early autumn quiet, warm days, cold nights, and a stillness that hung over the bay. For Renia Lewis, it was an ordinary day. She was seen near 14th Street and Star Avenue, going about her evening. No one knew it would be the last time anyone would see her alive. Renia was just 28, bright, loved, and full of warmth. Friends describe her as gentle but strong, a woman who carried a quiet light. Her mother, Terry Lewis, called her my queen. But that night, something happened. Her phone went silent. Her messages stopped. Hours passed, then days. And as time stretched, fear began to set in. When her family couldn't reach her, they knew something was wrong. By Sunday, September 28th, Renia was officially reported missing to the Vallejo Police Department. The days after Renia's disappearance were filled with confusion and dread. Terry Lewis called every friend, every contact, every number she could think of. No one had seen Renia. No one had heard from her. Family and friends took to social media, begging for help. Please, if anyone has seen Renia, call us. Her photo began circling across the Bay Area. A smiling young woman, unaware her image would soon haunt headlines nationwide. Police began tracking her phone. They pinged it across towers near 14th Street, the same place she'd last been seen. And then came a strange discovery. Renia's phone was found lying on the roof of a nearby school. How it got there, no one could say, but detectives knew one thing. People don't just vanish. Someone had to know what happened. Police zeroed in on a property along 14th Street that had shown activity connected to Renia's phone data. It was a modest home, faded paint, a detached unit behind the main house. Nothing that stood out. Officers knocked. They questioned residents. Then they searched briefly. A routine welfare check, they called it. A sweep of rooms, closets, corners, nothing. There are no signs of a struggle, no traces of Renia, no blood. The house seemed ordinary. And so, after a few hours, they left. But beneath that roof, hidden behind walls, Renia was already there, and no one had found her. If you're just joining us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We bring you real cases, not just for shock, but to seek truth and justice. Renia's story deserves to be heard. By the next day, the community's anxiety had grown. Posters went up. Volunteers searched alleys and parks. Renia's name filled social feeds. And then, something unprecedented happened. The state of California issued an Ebony Alert, a relatively new emergency alert system created to spotlight missing Black women and girls who too often go unseen in early search efforts. For many, it was validation that Renia's case was being taken seriously. But for her mother, it wasn't enough. "I just want her home," she told local reporters, tears streaming down her face. She didn't deserve this. My baby didn't deserve this. Unbeknownst to her, investigators were already circling back, returned to that same home on 14th Street, with new evidence, new authority, and a growing sense that something was deeply wrong. On October 1st, Vallejo detectives obtained a search warrant to re-enter the house. This time, they weren't doing a welfare check. They were tearing the place apart. The FBI had joined in. Forensics experts arrived with equipment, ready to search every inch. Detectives entered the home, flashlights cutting through the dark. The air inside was stale, heavy, wrong. They moved through each room, kitchen, living room, back unit. Still nothing obvious. Then one officer noticed something strange. A panel, slightly ajar near the ceiling of a detached unit. A crawl space. barely visible. They pulled it open. What they saw next would haunt them for years. Inside the hidden attic, behind insulation and a wooden barrier, were human remains, decomposing, dismembered, concealed with deliberate care. It was Renia Lewis. Her body had been placed there, piece by piece, in a space designed to stay hidden, a space no one would think to check. The scene was horrifying, the kind of discovery even veteran officers struggled to describe. Neighbors said later they remembered seeing strange activity at night, shadows moving, muffled noises, but nothing that made sense until now. That quiet Vallejo street would never be the same. If you made it this far, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It helps bring more attention to Renia's story and ensures others hear it too. As news broke of the discovery, police wasted no time identifying a suspect, 41-year-old Douglas Irwin Shaw. Shaw was arrested at his workplace, Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, where he worked as a mechanic. Co-workers were stunned. He seemed quiet, polite, even friendly. But behind that calm exterior, police believed was a killer. When confronted, Shaw reportedly confessed to the crime. But his motive, his reason, remains murky even now. There's no public record showing that Renia and Shaw knew each other. They weren't friends, neighbors, or romantic partners. To investigators, it seemed they were strangers, two paths that should never have crossed. As detectives dug deeper, a darker pattern emerged. In 2023, just 2 years earlier, a former girlfriend had filed a restraining order against Shaw, citing violent and threatening behavior. Court records described him as controlling, unstable, and unpredictable. He had no major criminal convictions, but the signs were there. The warnings were missed. Now, in 2025, another woman was gone, forever. Police believe Shaw lured Renia to his property, killed her with a knife, and tried to hide her body in the attic space of his detached unit. A crime both cruel and calculated. When asked why, he offered no answer, just silence. The Vallejo Police Department, along with FBI forensic teams, began processing the crime scene meticulously. Blood traces, fibers, tool marks, DNA. Every inch of that attic was examined. The horror of what they found told its own story, one of violence, concealment, and method. It wasn't random. It was planned, and it wasn't his first time showing signs of danger. Detectives pieced together a timeline. Renia last seen on Friday night. Her phone pinged near Shaw's property shortly after. By Saturday morning, she was likely already dead. By Sunday, her phone, somehow, ended up on the roof of a nearby school. Had Shaw thrown it there to mislead police? Had it been dropped during a struggle? Those answers remain unclear. But the evidence, as grim as it was, pointed to only one man. Don't forget, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We cover real stories, real people, and the truth behind the headlines. Because every story like Renia's deserves to be told. When officers confirmed Renia's death, her mother's world collapsed. "He took my daughter from me," Terry Lewis said. "I'll never forgive him. I want him to suffer the way she did." She described Renia as vibrant, ambitious, and full of love. "She had dreams," she said softly. "Now, all I have left are memories." A candlelight vigil was held outside the home where Renia was found. Hundreds gathered. Flowers lined the sidewalk. Posters, photos, and signs read, "Justice for Renia." Her name echoed through Vallejo that night. And beyond, Douglas Shaw was charged with murder in Solano County. He was denied bail and awaits trial. Prosecutors allege that Shaw used a knife to kill Renia, then dismember her body in an attempt to hide the crime. They plan to seek the maximum penalty under California law. Meanwhile, investigators continue to explore Shaw's background, whether he could be connected to other unsolved disappearances or violent incidents. Neighbors who once waved hello now shudder when they pass the property. The house remains sealed off, silent, almost frozen in time, a monument to the evil that once hid inside. Even as the case moves through the courts, questions linger. How did Renia end up at Shaw's home? Was she lured or tricked, abducted? Why did police miss her the first time they searched? Was the attic simply overlooked, or was it designed to stay hidden? Could she have been saved if they'd looked deeper that day? And what made Douglas Shaw an ordinary mechanic, capable of such calculated horror? Theories swirl online. Some say it was premeditated. Others believe it was random, the work of a predator lying in wait. Only Shaw knows for certain. And he isn't talking. In the weeks that followed, 14th Street became a place of mourning and curiosity. True crime fan journalists and locals drove past slowly, staring at the boarded-up windows. They whisper about the attic, about the hidden wall, about the young woman who lost her life inside. But those who live nearby say the house feels different now. Some swear they still hear noises from the attic. Faint thuds, whispers when the wind passes. Of course, it's likely imagination. But then again, evil leaves traces that can't be seen. Renia's case reignited discussion by the Ebony Alert, a system designed to ensure missing black women and girls receive the same urgent attention as others. For many, the alert worked, bringing national awareness that forced a faster search. But critics argue it came too late. By the time Renia's alert went public, she may have already been gone for days. Still, her case has become a rallying cry, a symbol of why rapid, equal response matters, and why no one, regardless of race, background, or gender, should ever go unseen. If you believe every victim deserves justice, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this story matters, and that Renia's name won't be forgotten. Vallejo is no stranger to tragedy, but Renia's death hit differently. She wasn't a public figure. She wasn't rich or famous. She was one of them, a daughter, a sister, a neighbor. The memorial outside the home grew daily. Candles flickered night after night. People left flowers, handwritten notes, even teddy bears. Each message said the same thing in different words. "We miss you, Renia." One neighbor said, "I used to walk past that house every morning. Now I can't even look at it." Even months later, her story remains one of the most chilling in recent Vallejo memory. Not just for what happened, but for how it was hidden in plain sight. Experts who reviewed the case say Shaw's methods reveal a disturbing mind, calculated, detached, and devoid of empathy. Criminologists note that concealing a body behind walls or in attics is often associated with compulsive killers who fear exposure but crave control. It's not just about hiding the evidence. It's about owning the secret. By placing Renia's body in a hidden attic, Shaw ensured that she would remain close, unseen, unheard, and silenced. It's the ultimate expression of dominance and darkness. But evil has a way of unraveling. And in this case, truth fought its way through walls. When detectives opened that hidden space, the silence was deafening. Flashlights flickered. Dust filled the air. An officer whispered, "We found her." Those 3 words ended a desperate search and began a lifelong nightmare for her family. From that moment, Vallejo would remember September 2025 not for the leaves turning gold, but for the night an attic gave up its secret. The Renia Lewis case exposes more than one evil. It reveals how easily violence can hide behind ordinary faces, ordinary walls, and even ordinary lives. It forces us to question how many others are missing, unheard, unnoticed. It reminds us that justice isn't just about punishment. It's about awareness, empathy, and the will to never look away. Renia's life mattered. Her story matters. And telling it ensures she won't vanish again, not from memory. Today, Douglas Shaw sits behind bars, awaiting trial. He's charged with murder, facing the full weight of the law. The house remains sealed, a silent reminder of what was found there. But if you stand outside at dusk, locals say you can still feel something in the air. Not fear, not anger, something else. A quiet presence, as if Renia herself is still watching, still asking for justice. If you made it this far, thank you. Your attention keeps her story alive. Please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to shed light on cases like this. Stories that deserve to be told, victims who deserve to be remembered. Renia Lewis was 28 years old. She didn't die in a car crash. She didn't overdose. She was murdered, hidden behind drywall and insulation by a man who thought he could erase her. But he was wrong, because even in death, her story spoke. Every lead, every headline, every voice that cried her name brought her back from silence. As the trial nears, one question remains. Why? What drives a human being to such darkness? What does it take for evil to bloom in ordinary soil? We may never truly know, but we do know this. Truth always finds a way out, even when it's buried in an attic. If this story moved you, please hit like and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss another real-life mystery. And remember, justice begins with awareness. For Renia Lewis, we will not forget,